From last night today, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker, Republican from Tennessee. And Senator, thank you for your time today. You know the White House is threatening a veto of this bill. Will you support it, and why?
Well, Bill, I do think that the Speaker is trying to get it right, and that is show compassion, but also make sure the program has integrity. But let me go a step further. I think after the briefings that we had yesterday, I had 2.5 hours worth in the morning and then an hour and a half worth last night. I think what people on both sides of the aisle are beginning to realize is the refugee program is certainly something that needs to be looked at. We need to make sure that it has integrity, but there is a whole host of checks that go into that. Again, they may not be sufficient, and we need to make sure they are. But what people are realizing is the visa waiver program that we have with multitudes of countries in Europe probably poses much greater risk to us than even the refugee program. So there's all of these tools that exist for people to come into our country, create and have some gaps in them that could pose a security threat. So this is a bipartisan concern. So again, I think we need to look at all of these programs. Obviously, security for our own citizens is the most important responsibility we have. At the same time, yes, we want people traveling to our country, but again, we want to make sure that all have been vetted in the appropriate way.
Senator, this from the White House now on screen, talking about lives at stake, according to the White House. Given the lives at stake and the critical importance to our partners in the Middle East and Europe of American leadership in addressing the Syrian refugee crisis, he would veto the bill. If that is the case, then what can you do, Senator?
Well, again, Bill, I think what you're going to see happen, I understand Dianne Feinstein is introducing a bill today relative to the waiver program I was just talking about, which again appears to have much greater gaps in it even than the potentials that exist with the refugee program. So I think what you're going to see happen is, even though this veto threat may exist on a piece of legislation, my sense is there's going to be an even broader piece of legislation that is considered by both houses as we do, again, what our #1 responsibility, carry out our #1 responsibility, and that is making sure our citizens are protected. So I see this actually expanding. I do hope we're able to hit the sweet spot where obviously we show compassion to people who are destitute. I have visited these refugee camps, but the fact is, again, we want to make sure they're all vetted. Do we have that capacity in Syria where, again, there are no government records to bounce off against? And so we're looking at this seriously. Both sides of the aisle are concerned, and my guess is that this will end up not being partisan at the end of the day.
Wow. Senator, thank you for your time today. Bob Corker, the Republican from Tennessee, who clearly was not convinced in that briefing last night. Senator, thank you. We'll talk again real soon.